evening, everybody. So far, the governor tells me he wants to work with the Trump campaign. The news came late yesterday afternoon. A rally in Reno Saturday, a rally in Las Vegas Sunday night. What does our Democratic governor think about that?
We will be reaching out. We always reach out when there's big events scheduled, and hopefully they will reach out to us.
Under Nevada's rules, gatherings are prohibited over 50 people. What will the state do about the rallies? Shut them down if 51 people or more show up? Sisolak tells me that's not his intent. He says he hopes the campaign follows what the White House told Clark County earlier. Keep gatherings small because we're a COVID hotspot.
I'm confident that they follow the guidelines that are set in place, and those are the guidelines that they gave us that came out of the Trump White House to go to 10 or less.
The Trump campaign said Sunday's rally is scheduled to be at Cirrus Aviation on Koval by McCarran. Maybe not, says County Commissioner Marilyn Kirkpatrick.
I reached out to them this morning, so I'm waiting a call back, just because I don't know where the venue is going to be held. And my understanding is the airport is not an option anymore.
Kirkpatrick tells me she's hearing the campaign is scouting out other locations. I reached out to the National Trump Campaign to see how it plans to handle the rallies. It has not responded, although another Trump source tells me safety is a priority.
I think you're going to hear exactly what is at stake for Nevadans.
Keith Skipper is with the Nevada Trump Campaign.
You're going to hear the president talk about his historic record of accomplishments.
In a state he hopes to flip into his column.
Yeah, that's right. We can feel the wind a little bit better up here. The good news, as you mentioned, the high winds today definitely doing a good job pushing all that smoke from California, that brown haze out of the valley that we started to see yesterday. On the downside, those high winds are also kicking up a lot of dust, which is, of course, another pollutant you want to avoid. And there's a third factor that you also want to stay away from.
The more you can avoid it, the better.
Good advice from Dr. Dahlia Wax after a brownish haze started hanging over the valley yesterday and into today, making it almost impossible to see the mountains and giving the skyline an almost hellish appearance. She calls it a triple whammy: smoke, dust, and ozone.
We're kind of recommending that people stay indoors. We're recommending they use HEPA filters, change out the filters up in your ceiling, because a lot of us, we just kind of leave them all year long.
News 3 Weather Authority meteorologist Kevin Janison says there's been so much smoke coming in from the California wildfires, you can see it on satellite images.
This is a visible satellite. It's as if we have a Polaroid in space. If I slide into California, you can see the source of that smoke from this fire near Mammoth. And that smoke was almost like it was being hosed southward, got caught up in the winds in Southern California, and blew them right into the Las Vegas Valley.
And it's what's in the smoke that can hurt you.
Of course, we have more carbon dioxide, we have carbon monoxide, and then, of course, the ozone production that happens. So any of these things can irritate the lung linings. The lungs want fresh air.
Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, you might already be walking around with some extra protection. But when it comes to hazardous air quality, not all face coverings are created equal.
The N95 respirators offer you the best protection out of everything out there, but our cloth, our scarves, our surgical masks, unfortunately, won't help with this type of pollution, which is why we're still recommending to stay indoors.
Well, it's been bustling all weekend. Some large crowds out here. Still no live shows or performers, which is typical of Las Vegas. But folks are out here. They're celebrating the long holiday weekend and the unofficial end to summer.
By the looks of it, you might not even realize we're in a pandemic. Las Vegas remains a party destination for Labor Day weekend.
Still interesting, and it's still a good place to visit.
Even despite restrictions, traffic was heavy in and out of the valley, more visitors choosing to drive than fly. But airlines desperate for business offering deals too good to pass up. Round-trip flights from LA, for example, including a one-night stay at a strip resort, under $150.
Between July and the end of September, we found that Las Vegas was one of the top hotel destinations, actually the #1 hotel destination for the summertime.
According to the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, Labor Day weekend is typically one of the busiest for Las Vegas, on average drawing up to 320,000 guests. This year won't see nearly that many because of COVID.
Love to be able to see some of the shows and do some of the fun stuff, but I mean, this COVID stuff is pretty serious.
Still, many tourists agree there's a lot to see and do. especially when compared to places with even more restrictions like California.
Definitely a lot more freedom. The casinos are wide open. People are just enjoying themselves, so you're not going to get that a lot in California, especially around Sacramento.
A dialed-back holiday weekend, perhaps, but also likely a good gauge point to determine if our city is ready to reopen even further.